great. Hope you are. We are in Smithfield, North Carolina, visiting the museum and final resting place of Ava Gardner, one of the most beautiful, successful actresses of the MGM era. And when I returned home yesterday to edit the videos, I noticed in several of the videos that my thumb is the bottom right-hand corner. And I apologize. I hope you guys will watch anyway. The museum was a lot of fun, and I hope you'll come with me despite my thumb. We're at Ava's museum at 325 East Market Street in Smithfield, North Carolina. And she was born Ava Lavinia Gardner on Christmas Eve in 1922. She was the youngest of 7 and born in Grabtown, North Carolina, about 9 miles from here, to Mary Elizabeth and Jonas Gardner. And they lived on a tobacco farm, had no indoor plumbing, but felt they were rich because of the close family and the love that they had. Her mom was 39 when she was born, and her dad died in 1938 when she was only 15 years old. See, she was such a tomboy that her close family and friends remembered that she never liked to wear shoes, so when she'd leave in the day, she'd hide her shoes in the mailbox so she could go barefoot the entire day. The neighbors always felt like she was such a daredevil. She'd climb the local water tower on a dare, and she had an unusual love for babies. Anytime she had the opportunity to babysit, she would grab it up, said she got down on the floor with the baby, she loved them, and it was just an obsession she had. She always said she wanted to be a secretary and a mom, and neither did come to pass. In 1940, when she was visiting her sister Babby in New York, Babby's husband, Larry Tarr, took pictures of her, and he put them in his window of his photography studio, and after getting so much attention and comments from his clients, he decided to send the photos to MGM. And this prompted her discovery in 1941. And when she went to Hollywood to do her screen test, her accent was so thick, they said, "Please don't speak, just walk up and down." And because she was so beautiful, she was offered a contract at $50 a week. And then her and her mother decided that they needed to move to Hollywood. Once they were there, one day they were showing Ava around the lot, and Mickey Rooney was doing a movie dressed as Carmen Miranda. And remember, he is one of the biggest stars in the world at that time, and she is an unknown. But he said once he saw her, that was it. That he asked for her number, and she wouldn't give it to him. She refused. But finally she relented. Her family had told her, "Play hard to get, and then he'll want you all the more." After 5 dates, he proposed, and they married in 1942. He said they both tried, but it just didn't work out. She wanted to stay home and be a mom and cook and be his wife, but he wanted to go out, so they divorced in 1943. And unfortunately, the day that her divorce was granted, her mom died, and it was so difficult because her mother was her rock. She began her apprenticeship in 3 movies, but through her entire career, she had little confidence in her acting ability, and it would plague her for the rest of her life. In 1945, she met and fell in love with Artie Shaw. She grew up listening and loving his music, and they married in 1945, but unfortunately divorced in 1946. In the same year, she was loaned to Universal Studios for a picture named The Killers. It was a commercial and critical success, and finally MGM realized they had the makings of a star. Now, Ava had met Frank Sinatra earlier in her career, but they were both with other people. They reconnected in 1948 and married in 1951, the same year she was offered the most challenging role of her career, Showboat. Even though Frank coached her in the singing for the musical, when it was released, they dubbed her voice with another singer, and it was very disappointing for her. However, if you listen to the soundtrack, you will hear Ava's voice, and she was very talented. And because of the hit, the movie was a huge hit, she used her star power to get Frank a role in the movie From Here to Eternity, which won him an Oscar and revitalized his career. They both said they were the love of each other's lives, but they divorced in 1957, but remained friends. Through the years, he rescued her from several situations, and after they divorced, She moved to Spain and in 1972 moved to London for a more peaceful life. We're in the museum and I wanted to show you some of the incredible displays that are here. This is her actual costume from Showboat. It says it was designed for the film by Walter Plunkett, who had a long, prolific design career in Hollywood. He had also designed for Gone with the Wind. And here's another. It said Ava's gowns in the film. This is The Forbidden Past. It was designed by RKO Studios costume designer Michael Wolff, who famously designed the dress worn by Judy Garland in the world premiere of A Star is Born. Here's a gown. It says the Howard Hughes dress, and it's actually her wearing it in the back. It says the dress was made by renowned Hollywood costume designer Howard Greer, who started his career with Paramount and went independent in 1927. He designed for Hollywood stars such as Katharine Hepburn, Ingrid Bergman, Rita Hayworth, and he was dubbed the designer of the stars. This is Cape and Shoes from the Barefoot Contessa. So there were 23 pairs of shoes made for the movie. These are actual shoes. This is an actual costume that she wore in the movie Magambo. Her safari jacket. It's incredible. You imagine? This movie was in 1932. The jacket looks brand new. This is her wearing it. She was in the movie with Clark Gable. Dress from her personal collection. You can tell it looks like the 70s to me, but it's saying the 50s. It's a psychedelic dress from the 60s from her personal collection. An incredible piece. It's a headpiece that she wore. It was one of her favorite accessories, and she wore it in a Look magazine article with legendary photographer Milton Green. And this is her wearing the headpiece, if you can see it. Here's some personal items of hers. Gucci evening clutches, pocketbooks, and shoes. And this is her picture of actually holding the purse that is in front of us. It's another headband. She must have loved headbands. This is her wearing the hat in front of us. This is personal items donated. It says modest jewelry that she donated to the museum. In the mid-50s, Ava gave the charm to her niece, who wore it as a brooch for many years. This was her necklace. It's like a cameo. Beautiful ring, another beautiful ring, another brooch, and a very large necklace in her jewelry box. Here's a watch that Ava had given to Frank Sinatra.
I blatantly asked her, "Are you sure you love that guy? He's so skinny." And she assured me that she loved him very deeply.
This is the watch.
She was the love of his life.
It's also a jewelry box that Frank had given Ava's nephew. And this is a movie called You're My Thrill that Frank had written for Ava.
Ava was the great love of his life.
In 1950, 27-year-old Ava Gardner received the most challenging role of her career so far. She was
This is Ava's dining room in her London apartment, and this is her dishes. This is Royal Copenhagen Flow Blue from her personal china collection. So she had a passion for china. This is her London apartment. And this was from her London apartment. These are Ava's different homes. On the left, it says Ava poses by the pool at the home she shared with Artie Shaw on Bedford Drive in LA. Number 2 is the one-room Hollywood apartment she shared with Babby. That was her best friend and assistant on Wilcox Avenue. This is the apartment she shared with Mickey Rooney as his young wife and starlet. And this was her first dream home in Nicholas Canyon. And she's actually on the balcony, standing there. And this is her home in Madrid, where she lived next door to Argentine dictator Juan Perón. This is her London apartment drawing room and some of her personal effects. Items, a crystal cigarette lighter sitting on the end table at the front of the room that you can see. These are her gloves and her keys, letter opener. And she must have received this from a niece, because it says, an aunt is someone special all of your life, and there's a spot within my heart reserved just for you, Aunt Ava. It's her personal items. Looks like opera glasses. Beautiful place. This is when Ava went to MGM. So they had her on hold. They weren't quite sure what to do with her. But this is her, it says 1941 contract mugshot. Isn't she beautiful? It's a picture of the old days of MGM. They're actually playing a biography of her that you can look up on YouTube. It's excellent. So I would advise that you guys take a look at that. It tells a lot about her life from friends and family.
An act that could have destroyed her career until in 1945, when Gardner embarked on
This says Ava's last years living with no regrets. This says top left.
The actress was loaned to Universal Pictures for intriguing film noir based
Looks
on
like
a story by Ernest Hemingway.
Her assistant and her trying to train Morgan.
In The Killers,
Must have been her dog. It says her beloved corgi. And this is her and her beloved corgi.
Worships her, played by Burt Lancaster in his film debut.
It says she liked to cook and entertain at home, often with mismatched china found in her favorite London apartment store, Harrods.
The idea of two men beating each other to a pulp.
It's like she's giving her doggy a bath, and she's in there with him. This is a poster of Frank and Ava. Pictures of them together. It's kind of sad.
The lady here told me this is Ava's first check. She received $1,119 in 1965.
No pasta.
Not bad.
No pasta.
The little lady at the desk is trying to find me a good restaurant here in town, and I'm just here in the gift shop looking at all the things that are offered if you guys. Oh, and this is her best friend, an assistant, her lifetime best friend and assistant. So they have shirts, looks like Christmas ornaments, books, CDs, pictures, bookmarks, pens. Oh, they have a fan with her face on it and many postcards, glasses. There's a book at the museum and a calendar, and then different postcards of her that you can purchase. It's a beautiful picture.
We're here at Sunset Memorial Park, just a couple miles from the museum, to visit Ava in her final resting place with her family. In 1986, she had a stroke and it paralyzed her down the left side. Once when she and Renee were walking in a park after she'd had her stroke, they sat down by a tree and Renee said, "Man, big mistake. Neither one of them could get up." And Ava said, "Renee, did you ever think it would come to this?" And she said, "No, I didn't." Ava died on January 25, 1990 in Westminster, England at the age of 67 of pneumonia. She wanted to be buried here with her mom and dad, and Frank sent flowers to the funeral. She was in over 65 movies, which included such hits as the 1951 Showboat, 1953 Magombo, and she was nominated for Academy Award, 1964 Night of the Iguana. She appeared with such stars as Clark Gable, Burt Lancaster, Richard Burton, James Mason, Kirk Douglas, Humphrey Bogart, Charleston Heston, Gregory Peck, Susan Hayward, Tyrone Power, Errol Flynn, Paul Newman, and David Niven. And the American Institute listed her as ranking 25th of their greatest female screen legends of classic American cinema. When looking at her Wikipedia page, it stated that she was exposed to Christianity early in her life, but said that she was an atheist. Well, we don't know. The Lord is so merciful that even at the end of your life, before you close your eyes in death, if you can't speak and you only think it and ask Him to come into your life and be your Lord, He will do it at that time. But why would you wait till the end of your life? Because we struggle here and go through all of life's trials and tribulations when you could have had the Lord with you the entire time. That He gives us power, love, and a sound mind. That He says He will never leave us, never forsake us. That He goes before us and makes the crooked places straight. So, not only because of what Jesus did on the cross do we get to go to heaven, but we have victory here and now. So I hope today that you guys enjoyed this video, that you will ask the Lord to come into your life and be your Savior. It's just that easy. And I hope you've had a great trip with me. I've had a lot of fun. So until I see you again, God loves you. God bless you. See you soon. Bye.